Welcome back to Indy 500 Evolution 1965 season. After one of the most wild races I have ever seen in this game at the Milwaukee 200, the point standings could not be any closer. Al Unser and Lloyd Ruby still lead the championship with 21 points each, and second is Mario Andretti and Don Branson, only 1 point off with 20. Both me, David Land, and Bill Cheeseburg both had fantastic races at Milwaukee, scoring lots of points. We're both at 18, only 3 off the top mark. Jim Hurtubise, in a front-engine roadster, is somehow managing 7th place in the championship. Parnelli Jones still mathematically eligible as well, and despite missing several races, Jim Clark with 8 points still has an outside chance at the championship, as well as Al Miller, A.J. Foyt, and even possibly Len Sutton. We move on to a 50-lap event at Trenton Speedway, a 1.5-mile oval with a right turn in it. And this, I can't promise it'll be quite as crazy as Milwaukee, but it certainly will set the tone for what is to come in this unpredictable and wild 1965 championship, and will set the stage for the final race of the season. So, let's get racing at Trenton here in Indy 500 month. Now, traditionally, this is the last race of the season, but for whatever reason, 1965 has 7 rounds of the championship. So, as Cheeseburg qualifies on the pole and is immediately knocked off by the points leader, Al Unser. In fact, we've got all the points contenders right now qualifying. Joe Leonard is the first one who's not mathematically eligible. And it looks like, once again, we've got a pretty big disparity between the first and last cars. Right now, we got 7 miles per hour. I suspect, yes, Mario is going to be third. And A.J. Foyt, let's see what he can do, second. So we've got all the big dogs, all the contenders running up at the front here. And I think it's going to be a lot like Milwaukee, where we're going to see a very unpredictable race. I'm wondering if people are going to run into each other. I'm wondering if it's going to be very tight, or if somebody's going to be able to dominate. Will I be able to dominate? I used to have the Trenton curse, which I broke, I believe, this season, where I just was unable to win at Trenton Speedway. But let's see what we can do in qualifying here. We qualified mid-pack at Milwaukee, and obviously there's a big grid for this race as well. So let's see. Let's qualify. All right, we are going to run once again with the 1965 Lotus. This was the car I chose for the Milwaukee race, and it wasn't necessarily the best suited car for Milwaukee, but I think it actually will fit in better here at Trenton Speedway, because, of course, this is a much higher speed track than Milwaukee was, and I actually might be able to use the speed potential of this car a little bit better than I was able to at Milwaukee. As we're coming up through the gears, I may be able to take that final corner in 5th gear, we'll have to see, and then blasting down the front straightaway here at Trenton. I have to be careful not to run a quicker warm-up speed than my actual lap, though that's possible that I will do that. Down into 4th gear, easy for turn 1. That's definitely going to be a corner that probably is always going to require a downshift. So, but let's try in the final corner here to stay in 5th gear. We're going to push up just a little bit. Try not to lose too many RPMs. I think that was all right. Try not to hit the guardrail either. The nice wooden fence there. I'm sure that protects the spectators nice and well. So 142, I think that would qualify on the pole. Or close to it. It might be 143, which is the pole speed. Regardless, I'm going to try to run as good of a lap as that was this lap. Maybe even a little bit better if I can get the car handling in turn 3 here, which I think I've been able to do. I don't know if I lost too many RPMs though as we head down the main straight. Let's see what the speed is.
It's the final
just
lap.
A tick slower, but we're right where we should be in terms of speed. And I think I can push the car a little bit faster on this lap, especially knowing now that I've got a good, fast car underneath me. So arc it in a bit later. Try to stay in the throttle. Pick the RPMs back up. I don't know if I ran through that corner better or worse. We're going to have to see as we cross the line here in just a second. No, slower. But 142 miles an hour was enough for the pole position. And actually, I qualified 2 miles an hour faster than Jim Hurtubise, who managed to get second, which is very surprising for a front-engine car. Let's take a look at the starting grid. Al Unser, the points leader, as well as his co-points leader, Lloyd Ruby, in the second row. A.J. Foyt, Bill Cheeseburg, Parnelli Jones, Mario Andretti. No Jim Clark, so Clark is not going for the championship, obviously. That will eliminate him from contention, and we'll take a look down through the rest of the field at Rich Cook is the last car in 22nd at 131 miles per hour. So you can see how much speed difference there is between me and him, about 11.5 miles per hour. So, let's go racing from the pole position in Trenton. Can we hold off Hurtubise, Unser, Ruby, Foyt, and Cheeseburg? Let's find out. All right, here we come down for the start. 50 laps at Trenton. This may be quite the grueling contest. We've got the Novi-powered, front-engined car with Hurtubise on the outside. I think that's a Curtis. And we are already into turn 1 ahead of Hurtubise. So we're keeping a good pace on the start. Already got 0.3 of a second on Jim Hurtubise. I can't believe that front-engine car is running this high up in the field in 1965. I was impressed with that car's pace in Milwaukee, and I'm impressed once again here at Trenton Speedway. But we've already put a second on Hurtubise in 1 lap. He gained a little bit back on the exit of turn 3, down to half a second, but it looks like Hurtubise may have had good qualifying pace, but might not have it in the race. But I think we've got some race pace. We ran a 138 mile per hour lap on lap 1, and Lloyd Ruby moves up into second position. So for championship, we really need to win this race, and we need guys like Ruby to not have good days. But unfortunately, right at the moment, it looks like Lloyd Ruby is going to be sticking it in second place, and you can see the bright orange STP Novi is falling back through the field quickly. So Jim Hurtubise, unfortunately, had a quick car in qualifying, but not quick in the race. At least early on, he could have the reliability. That's what gained him a lot of points in Trenton, or in Milwaukee, getting a second place there with that front-engine roadster. So I run way around the outside of the corner, but we've still got almost 2.5 seconds on Lloyd Ruby right now. And again, Hurtubise just tumbling through the field right now. Don Branson is out of the points. He's tied with Andretti for second in the points with 20. And we're just going to have to pay attention to points today, because it looks like I've got the car. That doesn't look like it's going to be the problem today. The problem is going to be where the rest of the points contenders stack out. And I thought this car would be good in these conditions, and I'm being proven right. Remembered my headcanon for this. As we're getting a little wide there. Let's not hit the wall, David. My headcanon for this race car is that it's Jim Clark's 65 Lotus that in real life he won the Indy 500 with, but I actually beat him with a Brawner-Hawk in this game. But I guess that would explain why Clark has been absent. He's trying to chase a Formula One championship, so I guess Colin Chapman let me use his spare Lotus to try to win the IndyCar championship, or the USAC National Championship, I guess we could call it. As we're already 10% done with the race, coming to complete lap 5, and we still got a big lead on Lloyd Ruby. Lap traffic is going to be a thing, but it's not going to be quite as much of a thing as it was at Milwaukee. 26 cars start the Milwaukee 200, only 22 start here. I kind of wish this was a 26 or 30-car grid. I think that would be a little bit more exciting. But again, I'm criticizing a game that's this year 10 years old. I hadn't even realized that. But yeah, this game, made and produced in 2009, is now 10 years old. So this is the last officially licensed full-on IndyCar game, and it came out 10 years ago. How does that make you feel, folks? Probably not good, if I had a guess. But anyway, that's not here nor there. We are in 1965, and we are trying to win a championship. And I am interested to see what the final race of the season is. We may be going to our first Riverside race. Or we might be going to Hanford. I'd be surprised if we get our first road course of the season, or our first road course of the career mode in 1965. It seems a bit early. I would think more like 1967, 68 would be when we start seeing the road courses. But that would be quite interesting to see the championship end at Riverside. And I know a lot of people would enjoy watching racing at Riverside. Not sure if I'm going to do a full 25% race at Riverside because of how long the road course races are. I think they're like 25 laps or something. And in these cars, as you can imagine, that takes quite a while. So I might bump the amount of laps down to 10, because I think that'll give us a nice long race, but not one that's excruciatingly long. But I don't know. I haven't. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. Lloyd Ruby, Bill Cheeseburg, both up in here, up in the points. Remember, only the top 8 score points in this campaign. So if I think most of the drivers in the top 8 are the drivers racing for the points lead. Yep, Mario, Cheeseburg, Unser, Foyt, Ruby, all of them. And rounding out the top 8 are Jones and Branson, also racing for the championship. Hurtubise, I don't even think is in the top 8 anymore. So after having such a great qualifying effort, Hurtubise is dropping like a lead balloon, unfortunately. He's going to need some help from the racing gods, I think, to gain any points today. Yeah, Hurtubise is in 10th. That's respectable considering what his car is, but it's not as respectable considering where he started in this race. And I guess I will wonder out loud, if I hadn't been starting on the pole and Hurtubise had, would Hurtubise have had a better start and maybe been able to hold the lead a little bit better? The world may never know. And I'm kind of interested if Hurtubise does show up and the season finale is indeed Riverside, how that car, the front engine car, is going to perform there. That would be fascinating. We ran in this race a 142.7, so we are consistently running above 140 miles an hour around this track. Pretty, without a whole lot of drama at the moment. I'm not really pushing the car all that hard. The car just simply has the pace, and Hurtubise falls to 11th now behind Len Sutton. So Hurtubise in the front engine car falling by the wayside quickly. And R. Cook seems to be the scrubby scrub in this race. He's going to be the guy we're going to have to deal with when the lap traffic ends up becoming a factor. Again, this is definitely a race that I think could use some more cars. Maybe nobody wants to drive to New Jersey, and I don't really blame them on that one. But yeah, I guess if you don't have a sponsor, or you don't have the money, why would you show up just to run last? But I can already see the lap cars ahead of me, so we're going to be catching the back of the field here within a couple of laps. That probably means we'll be lapping the leaders at least twice, or the leaders. I hope I lap the leaders twice, but will be lapping the back of the field at least twice during this race. We've already got 5 seconds on Lloyd Ruby, and that gap stayed pretty consistent. It's also kind of funny that I seem to be making up all my time in the corners, whereas in Milwaukee, I was losing all of my time in the corners, it felt like. So it's weird how just a change of one track can totally change the handling capabilities and the potential of the race car. Dive it through that right-handed corner. Still seeing the back marker running through the banked corner here, turn 3. The highly banked corner. The highly banked long radius corner. There we go. That's a probably more apt description. Turn 1 here at this track is actually is actually been copied by Pocono. So this corner right here is actually turn 1 at Pocono. Maybe it's a little tighter than the one at Pocono, but that's how they modeled it. Then turn 2 at Pocono is Indianapolis, and turn 3 is Milwaukee. I'm sure everybody knows that at this point. That's the kind of trivia that has been kind of beaten to death, but it's still fun to say. I wish Pocono was in this game. I wish Phoenix was in this game. Phoenix and Pocono, and I'm trying to think of some other tracks that were around at this time. I guess Michigan International Speedway was around. Texas World was around. Ontario Motor Speedway. There's quite a few tracks that aren't in this game that, boy oh boy, if they were in this game, it would have really fleshed out the career mode quite a bit. Especially Phoenix. Phoenix and Ontario would have been really nice. And Michigan would have been fun because it would have been a flat-out, almost a pack race with these cars, and it would have been really crazy. And Texas World is essentially Michigan, but higher banked. So maybe that would have been even crazier. I would love to get my hands on all the assets of this game, and maybe pay a developer to update it and add some new tracks and re-release it on like Xbox and Steam and PlayStation. It'd be awesome. And there seems to be demand. Every time I play this game, there's always people in the comments saying, "Oh, I gotta buy that." I think this game came out probably 2 or 3 years too late, or too early, I should say. It was ahead of its time. It would have gotten a cult following pretty quickly if there would have been, at the time it was for sale, people like me playing it on the internet and on YouTube and promoting it and whatnot. Oh well. There's always eBay, folks. But anyway, we are going to go around Rich Cook here, or try to. Didn't get the best run through that corner. It looks like I'm going to sneak underneath Rich Cook there. I'm trying to figure out what chassis he's running. It's a Watson. Okay, I was like, I couldn't tell what that was. Very weird looking car, and the Watson was a weird looking car. Let's get down to turn 1. We're already at lap 20. So yeah, definitely my prediction of lapping him twice is going to happen. And I can already see the rest of the field as well. We'll probably catch them around lap 25. And I saw that Jim Hurtubise has fallen to 12th, so he continues to just drop through the field. Maybe he's got a misfire or something. Electronics issue. Wait, that would be if there was Indy 500 Evolution 80s. That would be such an awesome game, but I don't think they'd ever be able to do it. It's actually surprising that they got this one done and licensed. It would be even more incredible if they did it for the 80s. But a sequel with this game set in the 80s, man, that would be... I'm just thinking of that now, like the Chaparral all the way up to Emerson Fittipaldi and Al Jr. in '89. Actually, it would go all the way to 1991, wouldn't it? So you'd get Rick Mears. You'd be able to play almost all of Rick Mears' 4 wins. I guess it wouldn't start... Well, maybe it would start in 1980 and go to 1990. Maybe that would be how the gameplay would go. Because 91 wouldn't make any sense. In 1980, if you didn't include that in the game, you wouldn't have... Or I guess you would have the Chaparral, but it wouldn't be the best car. And it would be kind of fun to have 1980 be the year with the Jim Hall Chaparral dominating everything. Can we make that happen? Can we crowdfund that? Just gonna put that out in the ether. I don't think it would ever happen. If we can't get a modern IndyCar game, there's no hope of Indy 500 evolution 1980s. But a man can dream. Alright, we're quickly catching one of these roadsters up here. I think it's Arnie Knepper, if I remember from the Milwaukee race. And indeed it is. The yellow roadster. There's the bright orange roadster, which is Hurtubise, and then there's the yellow one. And that's Knepper. It's going to be kind of fun to see how many roadsters survive into 66. I think there was, in real life, there was one that made the Indy 500. And in fact, you'll be seeing a video about 1966 in this game. And not just necessarily career mode, even though we'll be getting to that as well. Just a hint. Alright, so we're coming up behind Arnie Knepper right at lap 25, so once again, my predictions are pretty good. I'm passing Arnie Knepper. So 2 cars, 1 lap down by the time we hit the halfway point in the race. Incredibly clean race so far, I have to say. Surprisingly clean considering what happened in Milwaukee. I guess the team owner sat everybody down and stressed that you cannot wreck the cars anymore. We paid too much in crash damage at the last race. And the budgets are tight. Tire companies aren't paying us that much. And you may say, tire companies, what are you talking about? Well, Goodyear and Firestone were having a huge war at this time, spending a lot of money to develop tires to go racing. And a lot of that money that they were spending was going to bankrolling teams to join either Firestone or Goodyear. It was one of the reasons that you saw NASCAR and Formula One and sports car drivers coming over to the Indy 500 and vice versa. Going over to Daytona and going to race Formula One and racing at Le Mans. That was all to do with the tire companies. Tire companies would sign up drivers and then they would send the drivers around to different teams to go race for big pay money. And so maybe it's even more incredible that these days we're actually seeing a revival of drivers going out and doing different things like Alonso and the like without tire company influence, without a lot of money waving in front of their faces to go out and try new things. They're doing it upon their own accord, which is pretty cool. So we're catching up to this big pack of 4 cars, which I've got to be very careful to pass because it looks like they are really having a heck of a duel here for 18th spot or whatever it is. Look how much speed this Lotus has in the high rev range. So Roger McCluskey, well, we know him. We had a wreck with him at Milwaukee right at the end of the race. Ironically, he still respects me according to the rivals board, despite our coming together. So I guess he really did feel it was a racing incident. Fair play to him. But I do not want to repeat what we have already done before, which is I don't want to go flipping through turn 2 with Roger McCluskey. That is not something I'm interested in. So we're going to be very careful trying to pass Mr. McCluskey. Didn't get a very good run through there. We're going to try to get a low run off the corner. Yep, make a nice clean pass. Around McCluskey we go. Now we've just got 3 cars in this pack to pass. No big deal, right? But again, I've got a pretty, well, not really a pretty sizable lead. 3 seconds over Lloyd Ruby. But I don't think Lloyd Ruby has come by Arnie Knepper in the front engine car yet, so Yeah, you can see him back there. So don't have to worry about it too much yet. Bud Tinglestad gonna go underneath him. Oh, and McCluskey dives to the inside. Thanks, Roger. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Yeah, gotta be careful in this lap traffic. I have made mistakes at Trenton before in lap traffic. I'm not really keen on making that mistake again. I would like to win this race. And considering the fact that there's been absolutely zero attrition so far, I would finish last were I to crash. And they're all slowing down the main straight. So I will slow down as well. If I can pick off 3 or 4 of them right here. Well, 3 or 4 of them would be awesome because I passed them all. Looks like I'm going to get past McCluskey. Oh no! No, 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 Batman! Holy crap, that was again contact with McCluskey, and here comes Lloyd Ruby. Damn lap cars. Damn lap cars. And Lloyd Ruby will take the lead after a banging incident, a wheel banging incident with McCluskey. Boy, when it's not your year, it's not your year, and that was no bueno. So now we've got a race, thanks to Roger McCluskey. Holy smokes. Okay. It looks like I've got pace over Ruby, so, well, let's not be too ambitious here. Last thing I need is a crash. That's why I backed out of the throttle as much as I did behind or alongside McCluskey. And here we go. Big run on Ruby down into turn 1. I'm going to back out of it for now. Now, if Ruby gets around McCluskey with no problems, then I'm in trouble. Cheeseburg is back there as well. He's closing in because of this lap traffic situation. I'm going to try to get a run here. I'm going to try to time it so I can pass them both down the main straight. Oh, I pushed up just a little bit, but it looks like I'm going to get around Lloyd Ruby because of the traffic of Roger McCluskey. Can I get around McCluskey, though? That's the question. Send it off into turn 1 on the brakes. McCluskey, oh, makes contact. Lloyd Ruby punts McCluskey out of the way. Oh, boy. That was bump drafting at Trenton. We were bump drafting. Oh, ha, 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 ha. Ay, 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 ay. Okay, well, that was exciting. Way too exciting, in fact. Now Ruby's still all over the back of me, 0.3 of a second behind. So we go down a gear. Despite getting my rear end ran into, I still ran a 139 mile per hour lap that lap.
Car number 45 appears
Uh-oh,
to have
45, that
Car
is...
number 45 is limping back
Is
to
that
the
Cheeseburg? Which one's 45? No, 40... Cheeseburg is 47, so 45. I don't know. Is it Al Sr.? Could be Al Sr., and that is not a good thing for the championship, as Billy Foster, not sure what he was doing there. Try to hang on to the outside groove here. Nope. Foster's going to go down to the inside, repass me. Haven't been able to figure out the identity of 45. I'm going to say it's Al Sr. for now. Al Unser. We're just going to make that assumption. Oh, and Ruby goes back to the inside and makes the pass for now. 2 cars down the inside. Didn't see who they were, so...
Car number 45.
Yeah, definitely Unser. So Unser, despite leading the championship on the way in, will almost certainly either lose it to me or Lloyd Ruby, depending on who wins this race. And Lloyd Ruby may still have the championship lead after this, because I don't know what the point swing is between first and second. I think it's like 2 points. I think I'm 3 behind. So actually, Lloyd Ruby still would be the points leader.
No fuel this time for car number 1.
Look at this. Oh, Ruby gets into the back of me again.
Car number 45.
Goodness gracious. Well, this race has gotten much more exciting than I wanted it to. We get around Bud Tinglestad, but Lloyd Ruby will get around him as well. Now behind Joe Leonard. If we can clear this traffic, we're in good shape. But Lloyd Ruby trying around the outside. But it looks like I may clear Leonard. No, he's going to block me. Oh, I almost hit him in the rear. Ruby down to the inside. And he will make the pass in turn 3. And now I'm way out of the groove. And Tinglestad goes to the inside. Oh, I almost clipped the wall there. I had to be so careful not to hit anything. Cheeseburg now all over the back of me. I've lost the lead in traffic. Now I've lost second place to Cheeseburg. Not good. Not good at all. Not good. And Ruby has cleared the traffic. I cannot run that high line. I was trying to pass them on the outside. Did not work. We'll get around, looks like we'll get around Cheeseburg here. He's going to go to the inside. I will too. The time for conservatism is over. Wow, that was so close. And AJ Foyt was the other car involved with Al Sr. So another championship contender falls by the wayside. Cheeseburg goes under Foster. We got Don Branson all up my rear. Don Branson's been a car that's been a thorn in my side throughout this career mode. Or a driver who's been a thorn in my side throughout this career mode. We're going to try to run a good line. No, that was so close. It was more wheel contact, and Branson gets underneath me. So we're quickly falling through the field now. Oh, good Lord. Problem is, it seems like the lap cars are very fast in the corners, but they're so slow on the straights. And the tires are starting to wear as well. As Branson goes underneath Tinglestad. And Leonard. So he passes them both. My tires are definitely going away now. No doubt about it. Now Parnelli Jones is starting to close in. Well, we've lost lots of points now. Tried to avoid Tinglestad there. Trying to avoid the wall as well. Oh, man. Dirty air. Dirty air in 1965. Looks like Speed Racer, the Mach 5 with Tinglestad. And here comes Parnelli around the outside. And he'll make that pass as well. So we'll be 5th. Oh, no, not 3 wide. That would have been a mistake. Thought better of it. Some points are better than no points, David. Wow, the car's really falling off significantly. Tinglestad's slow on the main straight. We'll get around him finally, thanks to Parnelli slowing him up. Parnelli gets slowed down by Leonard. Here come, oh, we're going to be 3 wide off of the corner. This is bad. This is not a good position to be in. I pushed a little bit. Somehow Tinglestad didn't hit the wall. Neither did I. I didn't hit anybody. Neither did Parnelli. Parnelli gets in front of me. And now he's going to try to pass Leonard. It's not going to work. Oh, yeah, it is. He's going to go 3 wide with Joe Leonard. Now we'll get to the inside of Leonard and hopefully actually clear him this time. Hard on the brakes for me. Oh, and he gets into the back of me. Another bump draft. But I cleared him, so now we've got to go pursue these other cars. We're now clear of the traffic, so this is by Formula One logic. Oh! Parnelli sends it on the inside. I was going to say by Formula One logic we should be flying right now, but it looks like Parnelli may have the best car out of everybody. And now Mario Andretti's going to be back there as well. So I slam on the brakes into turn one. The tires are very worn right now. Very, very worn. So the race definitely has come back to these other drivers. And it's not really come back to me. We've got to stay away from the lap cars. Screw that crap. Coming up to 4 laps to go. 1.2 seconds ahead of Mario Andretti. And will we catch that other lap car? That much slower lap car. Though I said we'd lap twice, but that was based on what our current pace was at that time. I don't think we quite managed that in the final 25 laps of this one. I should have been Sebastian Vetteling screaming about blue flags. Wow, the blue flags! And that was not a good corner exit. Didn't shift properly. And believe me, it's not like I'm not trying. A lot of times you find that the harder you try, the more problems you end up causing yourself. And Al Miller has moved up into the position behind me, 6th, so maybe something happened to Mario. Mario might have been caught up in lap traffic. And indeed looks like what may have happened, so Al Miller moves up into 6th spot. As we're coming up to 2 laps to go here in the Trenton 300. It looks like another bit of contact with Roger McCluskey may have cost me this race. We were coming up through the field so well. But now we're confined to 5th spot at the moment. The leaders do appear to be catching traffic, but are they going to catch it before the last lap? I mean, it is the last lap now.
It's the final lap.
So I just don't see a scenario that leads to me making up any more positions. But, you know, we're going to just hang in there for now. Try to bring the car home as we come through the final corner. Well, we finished 5th at Milwaukee, and it looks like I'm going to finish 5th again here at Trenton. And even though I've broken the Trenton curse, certainly I'm still a bit cursed here at Trenton Speedway as we cross the line, take the checkered flag, and boy, oh boy, that was quite the race. The lapped cars really caused issues, and you can see I was 0.4 of a second faster than everybody else, but ultimately, when it came down to it, I was not good enough to win the race. McCluskey still respects me,
The leader makes a pit
so he
stop.
must, I don't understand that one. I can't stay away from him.
Car number
Hurtaby's got a top
71
10,
makes
but
a
he
pit
scored
stop.
no points. Len Sutton, Al Miller, Mario Andretti
Car number
rounding out the
25
points-paying
makes a pit
position, and
stop.
Lloyd Ruby
Car
will
number
take an unequivocal
74
lead in
is
the
smoking.
championship now, and Cheeseburg moves to the second highest potential
number
driver
18
to
makes
win
a
the
pit stop.
championship. So we'll move on to the final race of the 1965
Car
season.
number
Stay
59
tuned.
makes a pit
Let's
stop.
make it a surprise. What race do you think
Car
it
number
is? Let me know down in the
45
comment
makes a pit
section
stop.
below. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube. Subscribe for more IndyCar, Indy 500, and Indy 500 month content, and I will see you in the next video.